gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good morning, CaneSport. It's May 25th, 2022. I'm Gary Ferman, the publisher of CaneSport.com, joined as always by our managing editor, Matt Shodell, as we discuss the news of the day, presented as always by LifeWallet, where the time is now to take charge of your personal health. And Matt, I thought we'd do something different for today's show and pay tribute to the guys on the CaneSport.com message boards who come up with so many great topics of discussion every single day, and we would touch on a couple of them and give our opinions, and then we'll transition into obviously the news of the day. So the first one that caught my eye was somebody suggested that Manny Diaz, with the NIL support that Mario Cristobal has found through LifeWallet and John Ruiz, would be just as good of a recruiter as Mario Cristobal, and I guess as an extension, you would have to include the coaching staffs. Your thoughts?
Okay, well, the message board post was, did you say with double the NIL budget or the same exact NIL budget?
I think it was double, right?
Double, yeah.
If he had double what he had when he was
covered. Listen, I mean, I could be the Miami Hurricanes coach, and if I can offer anybody double the money, like, they're going to come to Miami. I'm sorry. And people on the message board, oh, you disagree, really? People on the message board say it's a dumb question, whatever. But listen, if you're a high school prospect, and I'm not saying high school prospects are rich or poor, but just generally, if you look at the country, there's a certain segment that just don't have a lot of money. And if you're a high school prospect and your family's struggling, I understand the goal is to get to the NFL. And you want to go to the program that's going to develop you the most. But the reality is, what is it, 1%, whatever it is, of all the college prospects make it to the NFL. Not a high number. And if you want to lock in something that's going to help your family, if your family needs that help, like NIL's the way to do it. And if you're going to double, if you're offered $100,000 somewhere, $200,000 somewhere else, $400,000 somewhere, $800,000 somewhere else, I mean, it doesn't matter who the coach is. If your family can't pay the power bill, if your family is struggling to pay the rent, like, I don't know how you're going to disagree with that, Gary. Like, that's the problem with NIL money. It's not letting student athletes choose the school they want to go to anymore. It's not letting student athletes choose the coach they want to go to anymore. It's essentially forcing student athletes to choose between helping my family or hopefully in 4 years I'll make the NFL. And it's not a fair choice to give a 17-year-old who barely even knows what they're doing with their life yet. But that's my perception. What's your? I'm sure that I'm totally wrong, right, Gary?
Listen, here's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at the level at which the program is being run now compared to the way it was being run 6 months ago. And there's not a comparison. I mean,
agreed.
And you can talk about money, but somebody had to inspire the spending of that money. Okay. John Ruiz, NIL, was in South Florida throughout Manny Diaz's entire coaching tenure at the University of Miami. He wasn't inspired to do anything. The Moss brothers.
There was no NIL at that point.
See, now you're interrupting me, okay? People accuse me of interrupting.
Because you're living in fantasy land with the little birds tweeting outside your window.
Let me keep these thoughts going, okay? The Moss brothers, Manny Cadre, all these local business people that are now involved in the program, they weren't inspired to be involved in the program when Manny Diaz was coach. And it's nothing against Manny. Manny had never done anything of any significance in his football coaching career. There was no reason that he was going to inspire these millionaires and billionaires to, develop the hobby of giving their money away on the side to causes benefiting University of Miami football.
That's not even the premise of the question. The premise is he already has double the money. What are you talking about, bro?
No, I understand. But I'm just saying that nobody was going to give him that money is my point. There was no reason to give him that money. There was no reason to believe that he would do anything significant with that money if they gave it to him. Okay, there is the reason to believe all of those things with Mario Cristobal, which is why people are stepping forward and opening their wallets for Miami now. And they're getting ready to build $100 million of facilities. Forget just the NIL deals, the commitment to staffing, the coaching staff. Mario Cristobal inspired every single bit of that, okay? And none of it would have happened if he didn't become the coach. So to me, the conversation is almost a non-starter, except we're having fun with it right now. But like nobody was giving.
You're having fun. I'm not having fun. I'm not having fun because you're not answering the question. But whatever.
I'm getting
you're having fun.
Now. Okay, so now, but let's say that my rant. What do we call it? The official rant. What is it?
It's supposed to be a DNR, but that wasn't a DNR. That was
okay. I just gave my little DNR. There was nobody giving him that kind of budget. Okay. By the way, did you know Manny was in town last week recruiting and was like making the rounds of schools and stuff, recruiting for Penn State? I thought that was kind of interesting. All right, now back to the subject. But for the sake of this conversation, let's assume that somebody did give him the current day budget and said, go out and recruit. Okay. I would still say no, because Mario is one of the best recruiters in the country. Now, but I will tell you what is a legit topic of conversation as an extension of this topic. And that is the NIL world map negating the recruiting skills of people like Mario Cristobal? Is it becoming all about the Benjamins? Is it becoming, the highest bidder or bust? And is that negating the great recruiting skills and work ethic of guys like Mario Cristobal?
I pretty much already answered that, but it's not that different than what we've seen at Miami over the last number of years that the SEC has been a dominant conference, where there's these rumors of bagmen running around Alabama and different places, Tennessee, just handing out cash. I don't know why muggers don't realize when they see some well-dressed guy holding a big brown bag, just mug that guy, dude. It's filled with cash for recruits, bro. Easy money. But it's not that different. And the truth is, that's why a lot of these Miami, South Florida kids have been leaving, is because somehow maybe they feel they may get money going somewhere else. And listen, there's been times in the past, I'm not going to blame only SEC schools. We've seen some Miami players driving cars that were like, why are they driving that car? Like, that doesn't seem right for a student athlete. I don't know if it's look, these are seniors. So these are agents who get involved at Miami and every other school. It was illegal back then. I guess now it's somewhat more legal. But yeah, the money is always going to be a factor. For anyone who says it's not, their heads in the sand. If you're getting paid double to go to some school than you're going to get at your local favorite school growing up, there's a certain percent of student athletes that are going to go to the other school. Doesn't matter. It's about the money. And the truth be told, Mario Cristobal is a great recruiter. It's a great coaching staff. And Gary will probably disagree with me, but I'm sure there's a lot of recruits out there and even high school coaches down here who will tell a prospect, listen, if you think you're going to get double the NIL money, which is illegal at this point for a high school kid to get, but if they think they're going to get that, are they really going to get worse coaching at Alabama or Clemson or even Tennessee or even Louisville or even Boston College? There's going to be that much worse coaching for this student athlete than they'll get at Miami. I mean, recruiting's recruiting. Recruiting's building rapport. Mario Cristobal and the staff does that better than anybody. But yeah, I agree with you. To whatever percent it's negated by NIL, there is a percent it's going to be negated by NIL. And my concern is that at the end of the day, Mario Cristobal have all these, student athletes that are committed, and they've got one big donor right now who's committed, I guess, $10 million to NIL deals. But at the end of the day, if some school illicitly comes in and whispers in a student athlete's agent's ear, hey, we're going to give him whatever amount of money if he winds up coming here and flips to us, it's going to be a problem all around the country come signing day, man. I'm telling you right now. And some of them may come to Miami. Guess what? It might not be a bad thing for Miami. It might be a good thing for Miami. But we're not going to know. We're not going to know. It throws everything into chaos. It negates great recruiters to some extent. And that's just how I view it. I'm not going to lie and say Mario Cristobal is such a great recruiter. It doesn't matter. Kids will come here for free. It's just not reality.
Yeah. And it's It's interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how this all evolves. Mario's calling card is elite recruiting, and he's always been an elite recruiter. And now he has to navigate through a whole new world here. And I know I'm captivated by it. I can't wait to see how he does it.
Well, let me tell you something. The best recruiters don't make a student athlete want to come to their school. The best recruiters, from my experience covering Hurricanes football for 84 years, the best recruiters have a relationship with a student athlete where they understand, and that student athlete will tell them, listen, coach, I'm sorry, but I can't come to your school. I'm not coming to your school. And then they can move on instead of keep thinking, hey, I might get this kid. Hey, I might get this kid. And this other kid I'm not going to worry about because I think I'm getting this kid. The great recruiters know who they're going to get. They know who's 50-50. They know who's 30% chance. And they know who's not coming because they've built that relationship with the family, with the student athlete where they can say, listen, we keep it real with you. Please keep it real with us. Just tell us where we stand. And that student athlete should tell them, if they're a great recruiter, exactly where things stand. And there's a lot of student athletes that do not do it. A, because they want drama. B, because they're 17 years old and they feel like they don't want to tell any grown man who they feel, is a powerful coach. Sorry, coach, I'm definitely not coming. Mario Cristobal understands that you need to get past that barrier to where a student athlete is okay with saying, I'm not coming. And he needs to make it comfortable for that student athlete to be able to say that. That's a great recruiter to me. A great recruiter isn't just, hey, look who I signed. It's, hey, look how early I found out who wasn't going to sign and what I did about it.
All right, fair enough.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
Little.
Yeah, I can't debate anything you said. I mean, I just think it's a interesting new world that they're navigating through here, and it's going to be fun to see where it all ends. And I think in the month of June we'll start seeing some commitments, and we'll of course we'll be debating the quality of the commitments. We've been going back and forth this week on the message boards, people challenging that there's too many 3-stars that are being recruited by Miami and that sort of thing. But really, that's not the case. I mean, they're in the game for a lot of the top players around the country, which they haven't been for many years. So recruiting is definitely at a higher level than what it's been. All right. The other topic that I saw on the message boards I thought would be fun for us to talk about today. DJ Ivey, the maligned DJ Ivey, the guy that we've seen had ups and downs now for God, it seems like he's been here for 8 seasons. But DJ Ivey is back for another go round, and Matt, I know you spoke to somebody close to DJ, and there is the great hope in the DJ Ivey camp that he's going to have a great season this year, and that if he does, that he could emerge as maybe a 2nd or 3rd round draft pick in the draft next April. I personally can't believe that is reality. I mean, I don't know. We've seen, we saw Michael Jackson rise up and have a great cornerback year a few years back. But, we've seen guys take big steps before. I don't know that I believe that DJ Ivey can rise to that level of a 2nd or 3rd round NFL draft pick. But in your eyes, Matt, can DJ Ivey be a late bloomer and achieve a level of competence and ability that he has not shown in his previous, I think it's been 4 years at Miami?
Listen, I always separate how I feel about a student athlete personally versus how I feel they play. And I love DJ Ivey to death. But to me, for longtime Hurricane fans, they'll understand this. For me, DJ Ivey is the defensive Kendall Tompkins. And the reason I say that is because when you watch Kendall Tompkins practice, you're like, oh my gosh, this guy is going to blow the top off defenses. He's the next, at that point, Andre Johnson. He arrived in 2008. Well, Kendall Tompkins wound up, I think, with 14 career catches, and he played for 4 years. He was on the team for 4 years. He played off the bench for 4 years. And when you watch DJ Ivey practice, he's got it all, man. He's fluid. He's got hips. He's got good enough size, good enough strength, good enough speed. He covers one-on-one fantastically well. And then he gets in games, and some players are called gamers. They play better in the game than in practice, and others have the reverse. And he's the reverse. I feel bad to say it. I don't know what happens in his brain on game day, but you can count on it that if he's in a game for an entire game, there will be 1 to 2 major busts where he bites up or is in the wrong place or covers the wrong guy. We've seen it every game he's played a lot. So I'm not going to go out and just say this is the year it all clicks for him just because he's a senior or whatever, been here 5 years. I don't know. I've seen enough of him that I feel there's other guys who are going to be better. And I hope coaches aren't fooled by DJ, Kendall Tompkins, Ivy in practice this fall, because I just don't trust him on the field based on what I've seen in the past. And the same thing, you can even point to D. Wiggins, right? D. Wiggins, fastest, biggest, best receiver on the team physically. Like, you look at him, the way he runs, everything, but you just don't know if he's going to catch a pass at the end of the day. And I feel bad. DJ's a great person. I've covered him since high school, love him to death. But I'm not going to lie on the show just because I like the kid. Like, that's just how I feel about him as a player, unfortunately. And listen, some people are projecting him as a 2nd or 3rd round NFL pick, I guess, is what I saw on the message boards. I haven't seen those sites that said that. But they're doing it for a reason. It's because he's got all the skills, man. He's got everything that you want in a good cornerback. But then on game day, he just doesn't perform consistently.
Well, like you said at the beginning, he's a nice kid. We'll be pulling for him for sure. I just don't, by year 5, not too many zebras can change their stripes, and they've got, some new bodies that they're cornerbacks, some guys that are developing that are younger, and we'll have to see how many reps he gets. I mean, I got to think Tyreek and Porter are going to be the starters. Maybe is DJ Ivy the next corner in the game? I mean, maybe,
Not a nickel, but they have Al Blades on the outside too.
He had a very good spring.
Nickel guy's probably
Isaiah Dunson had a very good spring.
Right, I'm thinking Dunson's smaller, so I'm thinking Dunson
Marcus
or
Clark is still there.
Dunson, Clark, or Couch probably a nickel. Blades,
and Couch for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Blades and probably Ivy will be the next 2 guys up at boundary. But I mean, Tyreek and Darryl, if they're good enough, they're not coming off the field in any meaningful reps. There's just
I wouldn't think so.
Yeah, so it's gonna be a tough situation.
And Couch had a good spring, but I think
Couch is gonna be really good. Dunson or Couch, for whatever reason, I don't know why Marcus Clark took a step back this spring. He didn't look like himself. Last year, Corey didn't look like himself. Dunson stepped up. The cornerback room is going to be really good. So I'm not concerned. Better. When I say DJ Ivy's not a guy that's consistent, that's okay. This is a really, really, really good secondary, despite the horrible numbers from last year, which were caused in part by a really bad defensive line pass rush. There's a lot of talent, and that's why I'm not concerned that DJ Ivy's inconsistent or anything like that. I mean, they have really good.
It should be better. It should be better. I'm not going to proclaim it good or great or whatever until we see it.
You watch, Gary. How am I more positive than you? This secondary, I think, is going to be one of the best in the country. I really do.
One of the best in the country?
Yes. Because guess what? They have a much better pass rushing defensive line. I think you're underestimating Darryl Porter, because I know Darryl Porter didn't do great last year when you look at completions and yards against, but he's got all the skills in the world, and they've got depth finally. They've been playing with 1.5 cornerbacks for 5 years,
I agree.
And somehow, fans hate Mike Rumph. Mike Rumph is a magical coach. He can't recruit. I agree with every fan out there. He cannot recruit. He has no interest in recruiting. He's the only recruiter I've ever heard who tells players how bad they are, which I've never heard before. What recruit tells a kid, you're not good at doing this or that? They're usually like, you're amazing. We need you so bad. You'll start from day one. Not Mike, man. He keeps it real, which is fine with me. I like that. Couldn't recruit. But when you give him average talent, he was remarkable in how well he coached corners. Now they have much better talent than when Mike Rumph was coaching. I think Adai is going to be a great defensive backs coach. So I have zero. I'm like Gary Ferman, who's so negative. I have zero concerns about the secondary. I worry about the linebackers. That's the position that's going to suck. Oh, people don't like when I say suck. Sorry. That's the position that's going to be below average, in my opinion.
Oh my God. All right, we're going to talk about a couple other stories that we have on the website today. I felt this went well, man. We got to do this again. The guys on the message boards at
Yeah, give
CaneSport.com,
those guys some love. It's a slow
they,
time of year, Gary.
they deserve the
Give them
love
some
from
shout
us, and
out.
those were a couple really good topics, and we have
Yeah,
more of
here's
them
the top.
on.
Okay, here Indochine. I know that's not how he pronounces it. That's the DJ Ivy guy, and Kane forever. That's the other. That's the who wins the recruiting battle. Those are the two guys. Shout outs to Indochine, and Kane forever. You guys, we took your topics on. We probably mauled them very badly, and there you go.
All right, the Matt Shodell Comedy Hour will continue in a moment, but first, let's hear from our friends at Life Wallet.
I will be your shield in the fiercest battle. I'll defend you.
Yeah.
Hey, my name is Cleveland Reed, and I play offensive line, and my job is to protect. I protect my family with Life Wallet. How about you?
Of course I got Life Wallet. It's the best way to protect my family.
Long as we go together, we'll die whenever. Be a light, couldn't let the darkness try you ever. Truth in my word, you I lie to never.
To protect you and your family, get Life Wallet now.
Life Wallet. Saving time, saving lives.
Oh, and apparently it's in. I use this time. I'm sorry, I didn't watch the commercial. I know people hate it. I didn't watch the commercial. I'm sorry. I was looking up the pronunciation. It's apparently it's Indochine. I'm not very
What's it
cultural.
mean?
I have no Indochine. It's some
What's it
cultural
mean?
thing.
Do you know what it means?
I looked up the meaning. It says the term Indochina refers to the intermingling of Indian and Chinese influences. I thought there was a movie named Indochine. It's a region of Southeast Asia. I'm sure people are going to tell us we're idiots and we should know what this means. Like, it's sort of embarrassing now that we don't know what it means. I'm sure every other person watching is like, how do you not know this? It's a movie. I do remember the movie. It's a French movie set in colonial France from the 1930s to 1950s. But maybe it's the last name of a football player on the Miami Hurricanes that we are unaware of. That's my guess. I'm going with that one.
Please, everybody out there, don't call us idiots on the comments.
Can't we just cut this part out? I don't even want to talk about this anymore. This is embarrassing. I'm sure it's something very, very serious, and we're like, this is not good for us.
All right.
This is not good.
Yeah, I agree. So let's change gears back to football.
Yes.
And we've got a story today on a defensive end prospect from Norman, Oklahoma, of all places, with an interesting name. His name is Bai Job, and he's from Norman, Oklahoma Community Christian. He is going to be visiting Miami on June the 10th, and this is a good player. He's visiting Alabama on June 4th. He's going to visit Michigan State on the 17th after he visits Miami, and he's also going to visit the Vanderbilt plan. Man, here's my question. Okay, he's a 4-star kid, so people will like that. Alabama's recruiting him and taking a visit from him. People will like that. But a kid from Norman, Oklahoma, who doesn't have Oklahoma listed as one of his favorites. I guess we'd have to try to figure out who's passing on whom in that regard. How seriously should we take?
Let me break this down a little bit, because there's a reason why he's not. Listen, he's not really from Oklahoma. He's your typical recruit. Came from Senegal in West Africa 3 years ago. Saw a friend of his playing basketball who wound up in the U.S. Getting recruited. He's like, I can do that too. So he showed up in the U.S., found a high school that would take him, was supposed to be a basketball player because he's like, I'm better than my friend. I'll do fine. And then they're like, wait a minute, try football. And he tried football, and he took up football, I think it was a year and a half ago. He's only played one season of football. And 6'4", 215, moves like a freak athlete. And he's getting, Miami was his 27th offer. He got offered, I want to say... Yeah, he got offered on New Year's Eve day.
And the truth is, Oklahoma is right there. So he can go to Oklahoma anytime he wants.
Of course. But he didn't grow up there is what I'm trying to say, yeah. So, and Oklahoma's in it. Oklahoma's in it, even though... And
I'll say one other thing, Matt. If you're going to take an official visit, why would you take it to Norman, Oklahoma when you're already in Norman, Oklahoma?
Oklahoma's certainly in his picture, yeah, for sure.
But there's no appeal to that official visit.
Right, and well, guess what? That's the argument why people say don't visit Miami for local recruits.
Except Miami official visits are fun. You know, they go to they go to fancy
Oklahoma's gonna
restaurants
love
on
you.
South Beach. They do a lot of fun stuff. It's a little
Right.
different than an Oklahoma official, in my opinion.
Right. Well, I don't know how to. I don't want to have Oklahoma people hating on me. I might want to visit there
Let
someday. So I'm
Oklahoma
not going to
people hate
respond.
on you.
You're not going to Oklahoma.
I don't think there's more than 2 Canes fans in the state of Oklahoma.
The police will be looking for you at the border of Oklahoma and whatever highway enters that state. So you better not go over there.
Listen,
what are you taking your head for?
I honestly don't think there'd be more than 2 Canes fans in the state of Oklahoma. I took that road trip to Norman. God, it must have been 10 something years ago now, or whatever it was. I don't understand how they're able to compete the way they are. I mean, it's one of the most amazing accomplishments in college football, quite frankly. I mean, that they're able to get kids to go to school in Norman, Oklahoma. I mean, all the power to them.
Yeah, you're going to jail in Oklahoma, Gary. I'll take over the site when
I
you're in
don't
jail
anticipate ever stepping foot in that state again. I don't think they're going to schedule Oklahoma again. I don't think they're scheduling Oklahoma State. I don't expect to ever step foot in that state, so they can put a warrant out for my arrest.
All right, let me tell you something. I just typed in TripAdvisor, the top things to do in Norman, Oklahoma. You know what number 1 is? Stand in a field and look around. That's the number 1 thing to do in Norman, Oklahoma.
Exactly, right.
Well, I'm just kidding. That's not true. That's not true. But the number 2, listen, the number 2 thing to do is Oklahoma Memorial Stadium. Apparently, they have a natural museum. They have a natural history museum, which I assume is only Oklahoma football artifacts. They have a museum of art, which I assume is a collection of art from Oklahoma football players. Yeah, it's probably not good when your number 5 attraction's a casino either, but you know.
Let me tell you about my trip to Oklahoma for the Miami-Oklahoma game and the nightlife, the lack of nightlife.
Listen to this. The number 10 highlight is the lobby at the Barry Switzer Center. That's literally the number 10 thing to do in the entire city. That's
about it. So you want to know what I did when Miami played Oklahoma in the afternoon? I can't remember if it was probably a noon game. I think it was a noon game, from what I remember. So the game ends. We do all the post-game stuff, get stuff sent in for CaneSport and all that. You want to know what I did, Matt?
I don't want to know what you did. If I say I don't want to know, will you still tell me?
I jumped in the car.
You tell me anyway, great.
I sped down the highway. It's about a 45-minute to an hour drive to Oklahoma State. And I went to see Howard Schnellenberger's FAU Owls play at Oklahoma State in a night game. I did a doubleheader in Oklahoma because there was absolutely nothing else to do. So I went to watch FAU play Oklahoma State.
Wow. What is Oklahoma known for?
Oklahoma State, nice little stadium. It was
what is Oklahoma known for? How about this? Chicken fried steak. You ever tried that before? That's number 1.
That's a artery clogger, man.
That sounds brutal.
That's not healthy. That's got tons of oil and breading and
steak. I've never heard of chicken fried steak.
Not good.
I don't even know what that even means.
Yeah,
I've never had that before.
You don't want to know. Hey,
have you had it?
So anyway, do you have anything else to add on Job? Because we're getting way off the beaten path here.
No, I'm really enjoying learning about Oklahoma, though.
I know, but Job,
what's the state animal of Oklahoma? You don't know that. The American bison.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah, state flowers, mistletoe. I guess a lot of Christmas stuff going on over there and kissing.
They have a lot of real estate to roam. I'll say that.
Oh my Lord. Bison. The state motto: Labor omnia vincit. I actually took Latin. Labor conquers all things. I don't know if that's true. I haven't done a lot of labor, so I guess I'm not conquering anything. State musical instrument. This one's easy. Everyone should know the state musical instrument of Oklahoma. It's obvious. Take a guess, Gary.
The trumpet.
It's obvious. It's the state song.
The trombone.
The fiddle. And what's the state song? Take a wild guess. Take a wild guess, Gary.
Oh, Oklahoma.
Very impressed. That's amazing. How do you know so much about Oklahoma, Gary?
Wait a minute. Was I right?
Of course.
It's called Oklahoma?
It's Oklahoma. That's the name of the state's
yes.
State song, of course.
Oh, my God. I can't believe I got that right.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. The name of the state song is Nebraska, Gary. That's the name of the state song is Nebraska.
All right.
Oklahoma.
By Job. Back to By Job. Really good-looking defensive end prospect. Getting the Miami visit June 10th. Is it serious?
I'll stop looking at Broken Bow Lake pictures. Yes, by Job. I just listen. I don't. Here's why he's interested in Miami. Okay, Joe Salavea, he's sort of connected with because they both have sort of similar backgrounds where they're not really from here. They were sort of viewed as outsiders initially, as they came here, and that's something you and I can't relate to that. So it's a strong bond, apparently, that sort of thing. So Miami's getting its foot in the door. Now, if he had to pick a school today, he's not picking Miami, but he'll come on the visit. And guess what? If he connects with this area, if he feels maybe something like he somehow feels a little bit at home here for whatever reason, whether it's, he's friendly with Leonard Taylor already, for instance, then Miami's in the door. Miami's got a shot. But we're not going to know until he visits. So it's really impossible to tell, which is why it cracks me up sometimes. People are like, what are the chances that so-and-so is going to be a Hurricane? I mean, these kids haven't even taken all their official visits yet. If they were signing today, I could tell you with some degree of moderate certainty, which means 10% chance based on my track record, where they're going. But no, I actually do fairly well on the guesses. But, you don't know. You don't know what kind of NIL deals. It's not just even visits now. It's NIL deals. Like, I don't even know what a commitment means anymore. Are they committing to the NIL deal that they were told they're getting? Or are they committing to the coach? Are they committing to the program? Are they committing to some friends? Are they committing to their parents? They're going to go to this college because that's who's giving them money. Like, who are you committing to anymore? I don't even know what a commitment is. Back when we started, Gary, there was no such thing as a soft commitment, verbal commitment. It was just a commitment. Like, there was no other, it was just a commitment. You committed and that's where you're going. Now it's just so complex and convoluted, and it's not as much fun anymore. Even signing day got screwed up. There's no signing day anymore. December you can sign, then you can transfer wherever you want. You could maybe wait till February if you want, or not even sign in February and do whatever. And the whole thing's just so ridiculous. It used to be a great signing day. Why couldn't you go back to the old system and just sort of give them the money somehow and just keep the signing day in February? Everyone takes off signing day. It's a big party. That was so much fun. And it's a shame it's never going to be like that again. People are, it's like when I try to tell my kids I watched black and white TV when I was younger, they don't believe me. They don't even know what it's like. Like, people who are just following recruiting now, they don't know what it was like, how much fun it was in those days, I mean, Miami used to, like when was it Randy Shannon? Yeah, when Randy Shannon was coaching, right? There actually used to be secrets in recruiting. Like Romeo Davis, the greatest Hurricane of all time, apparently, because Randy Shannon was freaked out. Like, wouldn't even let us write a story about the kid. God forbid anyone else in the country found out that Romeo Davis was a recruit of the Miami Hurricanes that they wanted. Don't tell anybody. That's true. That's true. I
remember that.
Yeah. So this was the thing back in those days. Like, we'd actually hear from coaches or people around coaches. We couldn't hear from the coaches, I guess, hypothetically. But, like, don't do a story on this kid. He's ours. Nobody knows about him, And, like, what are you going to do? Write the story and the Miami. This is the thing that it's difficult sometimes, and fans maybe don't realize it. But you don't want to piss off Miami coaches or administrators too much, because we've seen it happen before. They ban you from this. We have sources. Obviously, they tell those sources don't talk to them anymore. Like, you can't burn too many bridges, which is why sometimes you'll see us hinting at certain things we've found out or we know that we really necessarily can't tell you. And it's a fine line we walk, Gary. It's a tightrope.
A tightrope. All right. Another story on the website today, it's kind of interesting, is Miami has picked up pursuit of a defensive end from Ellenwood, Georgia, by the name of Adonijah Green. Okay. He is a Louisville commitment.
Believe it or not, it's pronounced Adonijah, because I asked Adonijah. I asked him. It's
Adonijah? Okay. Yeah. Adonijah Green. He is a Louisville commit, and Coach Adai knew him from his time at Georgia and started recruiting him from Miami. And Miami has now offered him a scholarship, and looks like that he will get a visit maybe even as soon as this weekend. He's still working on his schedule. He's setting June visits to Nebraska and to Louisville, and he's working with the Hurricanes as we speak here, trying to figure out when he could fit that visit in, and it could happen as soon as this weekend. So that is another one that we will be watching in the days ahead. All right, I think we've done enough damage for today. Shout out to our posters who gave us those great topics earlier in the show. Hope think we want to thank you guys for spending your morning with us yet again. And for Matt Shodell, I'm Gary Ferman. We'll say goodbye till next time, and have a great day, everybody.